to yourself, right? Because at the end of the day, you can't lie to you. As much as you will try to finesse, as much as you will try to I don't know, make it work, you cannot really lie to yourself, right? And so that's one of the things, right? That at the end of the day, oh wait, hold on. Can't lie to you. As much as you will try to as like I was saying, you really have to sit with yourself at the end of the day. Like no one else is going to read you how you read you, right? And so it takes these kind of outside questions to then say, wait, am I being actually honest with myself? Like, am I actually saying and responding with honesty, with transparency? Because listen, we love to talk about how we can, be online or be in our friendships or be in our community and be so transparent or honest with them. But what about ourselves, right? Like, what about your own self? Can you be honest with you, right? Can you be honest with you? Exactly. So I'm gonna get the YouTube fan up and running, and then I'm gonna come right back to you guys and just say hey to everybody. But that's a good response, and I'm gonna share that. As soon as we get this up and rolling. But these are the types of questions that I ask myself, that I'm like, oh my God, am I being honest with myself, right? Like, am I actually answering these questions from a place of, okay, even if I don't like the response, am I willing to be honest, but also, I don't want to say rectify, but acknowledge that something has to change, right? Acknowledge that something has to give, something has to change, right? And so that's what this challenge was all about. I didn't really make a big deal out of announcing the challenge at all in the days prior to. Hey, Chanel. But I wanted to make sure that those of you who were going to do it, y'all just came right along with it. You guys just came right along with it. So, hey, YouTube fam. Hey, Made on Purpose. I think I said hey to Chanel. I see a familiar faces dropping in, and I love to see it. Today is day five of the challenge. On YouTube, I created a playlist where you guys can actually start the challenge whenever you want. If you feel like you need to do it, I don't know, once a month until the end of the year. If okay, cool. Yes, your name is Michelle. Okay, I won't forget that. But if you feel like you just need a reboot every single time, go back to the beginning, do day one. It's kind of like a reminder, like a detox. Every so often, you kind of just have to remind yourself of that. And so I really do see it that way. Sometimes you have to just go back to the basics. And that's what this challenge was all about. And so I'm going to just do a quick recap of the challenge. And then we're going to put together our soul care maintenance plan. There's a workbook that came along with the challenge. Just as you can do the challenge by itself, it also came along with this workbook. I don't know if you guys can actually really see it because the lighting is kind of not the best. And I do have the ring light, but you know how it does that ring around? See? But anyway, that's the soul care maintenance plan. And so we're gonna work through that today. So those of you who already have the workbook, you've already kind of got an inside look at what it looks like. I have a few comments on the actual webinar. If you guys want to get a personal email from me at the end of today with all of the playback links and just a few words that I want to share with you guys, make sure you can still register for the actual webinar. And then you guys will get an email from me. If you weren't able to grab the workbook, I will also insert a link to download that, the worksheet and the workbook. So I want to read this takeaway, but I'm going to go live on Instagram as well, so that they can hear this as well. Cause it's day 5. So we got to make sure that we invite everybody along the way. So what's up, Instagram family? Been chilling with the YouTube and webinar friends for day 5 of the Soul Care Challenge. And I can't believe, honestly, like I can believe it because I feel like everything about 2021 has been like sped up, like everything has just been going like super duper fast. And it is what it is. We're like living in very different times these days, right? So for day 5, like I chatted with the webinar crew earlier, we're gonna just actually put the soul care maintenance plan together and what that actually looks like. Now I'm not saying that you have to do these things. I'm just wanting to, yes. So definitely click that link. So I pinned it on YouTube. I'm just wanting to kind of encourage you and give you like a fresh perspective of what a soul care maintenance plan is, right? And just making sure that you guys understand that it doesn't have to look a certain way, but you can definitely adapt these things to your lifestyle and how it works for you, right? So quick recap. So soul care, I started this whole challenge on day 1 with the perspective of first breaking down what the soul is. The soul is, and if anybody wants to jot down what the soul is, you guys can do that too. So the soul is your mind, your will, and your emotions. Hey, Instagram fam, your mind, your will, and your emotions, right? And so when you're thinking about those 3 things, those are 3 different categories, right? We're not just focusing on just the mind and your mental health, although that is pivotal and definitely vital, but we're also thinking about how your will is affected, right? How your emotions are affected. And the reason why all of this is important is because when you take care of your soul, when you have a maintenance plan for your soul, you are able to actually occupy the spaces that you're called to. I can't even tell you how many times I had to really assess, or how like we say we read the room. Well, read your soul, right? Read your soul and say like, okay, I'm off. Like something is off. I need to figure out what's happening in my world. And so that's where self-awareness is really important, because you're then able to have a conversation and say, okay, I haven't done this in a while. And if you're someone who is proactive, which I highly encourage us all to be, I feel like we're all being proactive since we're all a part of this challenge. These are the areas where we can kind of be already prepared for. Life is not perfect, right? And so if we just understand that there are going to be certain things that we experience that we really don't want to experience, right? There's certain circumstances that are as a result of other people's decisions, and we wouldn't have been there had it not been. Read your soul. Exactly. We wouldn't have been in those scenarios had it been for their decisions, but here we are, and we have to be proactive about certain things. And kind of, I think yesterday I was talking about SOPs, right? And so standard operating procedures in real life, right? Like as let's say if you work a corporate job, there are SOPs. If you're an entrepreneur, there are systems that you have in place. Why not have a system for your soul care, right? Why not have SOPs for your soul, right? And, I want to have and continue having this conversation because I think that we have misinterpreted self-care and soul care. I'm a huge advocate for self-care. I love things that make me feel good at a certain level, but I do feel like when we dig a little deeper, that is when we are dealing with the soul. And so I want to I want to jot down something over on YouTube, which is a text message, not a link, but number that you guys can actually text me soul care. And what I wanted to start doing with that, which I already started doing, is to send out really kind of not so random text messages to you guys where you receive just a word of encouragement or some sort of resource or link or video or song that I'm listening to right to your text message. And I don't know about you, but something happens in my heart when I just get that random, right? air quotes, random text message that so happens to be right at the right time. So you could do that. But long story short, really just recapping on what the soul is, right? So mind, will, and emotions. On Tuesday, we talked about the mind, right? The importance of making sure that the atmosphere of your mind is one conducive of you being able to trust in the Lord, like renewing your mind each and every day, understanding that your life is a miracle, believing that your life is a miracle. And then moving forward on Wednesday, on day 3, we talked about the will, right? How many of you guys have been indecisive in the past, right? Have been indecisive in the past and have had to kind of adapt to just not even understanding like how to make decisions. It's like, how do I actually do this? Exactly. Such a good point. And so, for me, it's very like important for us to understand that we have to be sold out for the will of God, right? And so we can have a will, and we could be decisive and make decisions and plan our ways and all these things, but we have to submit that will into the will of the Father, right? At his hands. And so I'm going to read a few messages that came through from the webinar crew. Loidi Maris says, I'm not willing to. So let me recap. Hold on. So yesterday's challenge was the question, what are you willing, or what am I willing to risk losing if I don't get my soul care together as of today? And so we had a response. It says, I'm not willing to risk God's dreams and desires for me. I want to see everything he has designed to do through me. And she said it in Spanish, a través de mí, which means to do through me, right? She wants to see everything that God desires for her life, right? To do through her. We have someone else that says, Janae says, I can't believe it's day 5. Keziah mentioned, major takeaway for me is that we, meaning me, working on the will. Perfect timing, because that's what we're talking about, right? Working on the will. But also it reminded me that being honest with my growing pains, investing time, and or being obedient brings unconventional blessings. Yesterday, I was reminded about how I used to say this term all the time, and it's actually on my wall, and I'm looking at it right now. My strategy is obedience. And y'all, although that sounds really nice as a slogan, living that out oftentimes is very uncomfortable. And so that's why making sure that where you're anchoring your will, your decision factory from, is one of confidence and peace, because you don't want to build something or build a life that is always having you in this very just superficial, anxious kind of like mindset, where it's like you're always operating from a place of fear, or you're always operating from a place of doubt. You're always operating from a place of you don't really know who has your back. And so that's a good point, like really understanding that obedience brings unconventional blessings to your life. I feel the same way. The will was bigger, was a big change maker for me. Amen. Listen, someone else says the challenge came right at a right time. I noticed I can make a plan for myself, but then not be consistent about it. And she says, like, I can start a routine, but as being consistent is the issue. How can I work on making the soul care maintenance consistent in my life? So such a good question, and I think that once you understand the different things that you at least want to start, hey, everybody, that you at least want to start with a few of those things, because I'm going to mention about 9 of these things. I'm going to mention about 9 of these things, and those 9 things can be found in the actual workbook for the Soul Care Challenge. And so with those 9 things, maybe you can just select a few things that are very organic to you, because I feel like a lot of us already do some of the things. It's about doing them more consistently, right? Which is what Jennifer asked. And I think that if we can at least commit to a few of those things and integrating them into our lifestyle until they feel like organic, and by default, that is the way that you go. Um, I think I missed a few comments, but I'm trying to make sure that I get to the actual soul care maintenance plan today. Melanie says, my takeaway has been awareness. Honestly, I never really thought about soul care the way you have taught us this week. It has motivated me to seek God, to put him first, and to implement the tools necessary to keep my soul in check, and to just continuing working on me internally. I'm extremely grateful for this. Look at God. Like, seriously, that is so, this is why this is like almost like a divine interruption. Like, this was just supposed to interrupt those who wanted to be a part of it. Melanie, she said, yes, Melanie, check on your feelings. Something that I just want to start implementing. Yeah, like check on them and actually check them, right? Yesterday, like I said, we talked about the emotions. We talked about, being in our feelings, right? And how sometimes we allow our feelings to run our life, right? And feelings are not terrible. Feelings are not bad. But when they start running our lives and running our decision-making factory, like I say, and start overwhelming us, we got to check that. We got to see, like, what am I not filtering out? Why am I not, why am I all over the place? Right? For those living abroad, I feel like you should be able to text the number. You just do +1. I think the plus sign and then a 1. I don't think I put that on here, but you can check that out and see what happens. I don't know the answer to that right now. I can check on that, but I believe you can, because I have a few people that are in different. Yeah, I believe you can. Yes, God's treasure says we have to be sold out to the will of God. And I actually want you to spell that even differently. SOULED, right? I want you to understand, to be sold out to God, to submit your soul, literally command your soul to submit to the will of God. The will is a big thing. I just read Isaiah 1:19 when it says, if you are willing. Come on, word. I wish like you guys can come on the live with me, like for real, for real. If you are willing and obedient, you will eat the best from the land. There is blessing when we are willing. We have to be willing, because God is a gentleman. He's not about to like force y'all to do anything, to be honest with you. And he will find somebody to do the job. So he's here like, hey, you going like, are we going to partner? Are we going to do this? Because we could do this another way, right? Check your emotions before they check you. Exactly. We have to be sold out to Christ. Yes. Okay. That's what I'm saying. They are spitting out scripture on this live right now. Like, this is really, really good. I'm going to have to save this chat box for real, for me. For me. But okay, we're going to dive right into today. I do have a challenge for you today as well. And then I would love to just hear back from you. So if you guys can send me a DM on Instagram of how this challenge has helped you in any way. So the first thing in the soul care maintenance plan is discipline, right? You have to be able to understand discipline in order to become consistent about something, about anything. And so obviously we're talking about soul care right now. And so you have to, we talked about the will. So you have to decide that this is important for you and discipline yourself. And so near the discipline, I guess icon is like scheduling. So it's like the time. Right? Are you really making time for it? You may have a busy schedule. You may be a mom to several children, or a father, or, you run a lot of different things and you have a busy life. But at the end of the day, you cannot show up for all these responsibilities that you have if you're not good. Right? You can't do all let me correct myself. You probably can, but there's nothing that is sustainable about how you are building your life in that way. Right. And so become disciplined about your soul care, right? Make time for it, and just really make time for yourself. And that will begin to really feed your soul in such a unique way. You'll start seeing yourself being able to show up. And granted, these things are not overnight, right? Like you start integrating these things so that you can see the difference a long time. The second thing is creating a worship playlist, right? Creating a worship playlist. I remember there was one year, y'all have that like one year that was actually like the worst year, right? Like everything that could go bad goes bad. And so that was like the first year that I created like a YouTube playlist. And the playlist I think is still there. And one of the songs on that playlist was Intentional by Travis Green. Like I'm talking about a few years ago, okay? Like 5+ years ago. And, it's just so crazy how now, a lot of the things that I on my 828 collection, essentially that song is based off of Romans 8:28, right? How God works together, everything together for the good, right? Of those who love him, who are called according to his purpose. And so that's why, to me, like creating a worship playlist is really important, because what is the atmosphere, right? What is the atmosphere of what you are sitting in? You know what I mean? Like, granted, y'all may not just listen to worship, and that's okay. That's you like it, I love it. That's not my issue. My main concern is to make sure that you guys have just like a go-to, maybe even 5 songs. I'm a huge fan of Maverick City Music. I'm a huge fan of Israel New Breed. I'm a huge fan of, I could go all the way back to like Shekinah Glory. Okay. Like I'm old school, new school. I love all of it, to be honest with you. And for me, I grew up in church. So, and here's the interesting part. Like I have a very dynamic experience because I did grow up in a bilingual church, but I also went to a lot of Black churches growing up because I just had a lot of friends that I would support and I would visit. And y'all know my late husband was Black. And so we would y'all, my favorite. And I went to church in the South for 5 years. Okay. I have such a plethora of stories and experiences. And so I know a lot of different genres within worship music, right? Yes, I definitely threw it back to Shekinah Glory. Okay. Sierra. That is like, let me tell you something. It's something about them old songs that just do something to my soul. It's funny. Today I was singing this old song. I can't even remember it right now. Maybe I'll sing it in my stories later on today. But it was just so like it was just on me. It was just on me. And so, I say all that to say, like, worship really does allow you to kind of get into just a certain space in your atmosphere, in your environment. When I say atmosphere, I literally mean like your room, your car. Y'all, I have had the most amazing experiences with the Lord in the car. Anybody else? Like I would like, I'm surprised I even got home. I should have pulled over. That good. Okay, we have a few yeses. Okay. I'll move on to the next thing. The next thing is prayer and fasting. Y'all, I just think prayer is so important. Reading your word is so important. That kind of goes with that one as well, because it actually helps you to pray the word of God. It's something about the word of God, like literally telling the Lord what he says concerning him and his character is something real different. It's so beautiful. And I literally don't feel like I'm the best prayer person. But the Lord loves my prayers and it is what it is. So I really have had just this gift to be able to grow up amongst a lot of intercessors and grow up and understanding the power of prayer and fasting, and all these different principles that really help with my soul care. That's my new prayer closet. Yes, the atmosphere changes for real. We got people doing prayer closets over here. I love that. Who else has a prayer closet? See, I might need to actually make this little spare closet that I have in my house a prayer closet. Maybe I should do that. And I think I said that in the very beginning when I moved here, but then it ended up kind of becoming like the room with all the extra stuff in it. You know what I'm saying? We all have that like either drawer or room that just ends up getting things piled in there. Anyway, the next thing is rest. Rest is very, very important. Taking time to rest as an actual act, but also resting in the Lord, right? So rest, there's like a duality to that. There is resting in the Lord, and then there is resting, like literally your body resting. Your actual physical body does something while you rest. Somebody says, wow, that's the biggest struggle, rest. My whole 1-bedroom studio is my prayer closet, prayer room, prayer and worship studio. I love that. Is that what led you to taking naps? Yes. Now, don't ask me if I'm still doing that because I have fallen off of that a little bit. But thank you, Londa, for reminding me about my naps. I literally, you know what? No, I took a nap last Friday. I was in a conference last week. And I was in a conference virtually with a friend of mine. And so we were watching the conference together. Yes. Londa says, I love napping, sis, same. And I told her, I said, listen, I just need 15 minutes. I'm going to time it. I just need a good nap. And she could not believe that by the end of like the 20-minute mark, and she called me and we tuned into the conference. She was like, I cannot believe you had a full blown nap. And I said, I absolutely did. And I went into a deep sleep, like into a deep sleep. And the whole thing was timed to the point where I literally was startled when I woke up from that nap. I was like, what is going on? Like, I'm supposed to be sleeping for real right now, but it was great. I don't want to sleep any longer than like 20 minutes because then I wake up and I have a whole attitude. Like me and an attitude and hungry, it just don't work. It just don't work. Like it's just not a good look for me. We live in a fast-paced world that we feel sometimes that every minute of our day has to have something in it. Oh, girl, you preaching to the choir. And we tend not to take time to rest our body and our minds. Anais says, I can't do 20-minute naps. I need prayer for a nap life. I wish I could for real. Yeah, like if you can kind of incorporate a nap every so often, slide that in there. So that's rest. We have exercise. Sometimes people think to the extreme exercise. Now, I love working out. It helps me a whole lot. But we also have to think about going on, I don't know, a prayer walk, like walk outside and just look at nature. For me, when I say exercise here, I really want you guys to like think about even just going outside, acknowledging, you know, God's creation and nature. And listen, that may be a little deep for a lot of y'all, but I like to remind myself and not think myself as privileged that I get to see these things every day. Because I feel like it is a privilege that we get to witness the miracle of creation every single day, to be honest with you. Yes. So Michelle says, I love to dance. Yeah, dance. Have a whole dance party in your house. Like literally, I live by myself. So let me tell you something. I'll be having a whole concert. And I'd be smiling and joyful. Okay. Same thing here. Not enough sleep, not enough food, and not enough human version of me comes out. Girl, a whole nother human version. I started back getting my rides in, and it's helped let me sleep at night. That's so good, Shayna. And then we have LOL, the Lord has told me this every day. And I'm like, okay, God, I'm gonna do it. Alicia. Yes, we got to make it work. If the Lord keeps telling you this, then sis, we got to make it work. Like, I don't have to say much. The Lord has already said what he needs to say, right? Another thing I want to throw out there that really helps with just maintaining your soul, and I'll kind of share just two more because there were a few on here, is community, right? Maintaining that accountability, having that tight knit group where where you can actually build a vulnerable space, right? And build a transparent space where you can actually be honest about some of the things that you're struggling with. I be having some of the realest conversations within my own community where I'm like, yeah, this ain't it. It ain't working. It's too much for the internet to handle. Okay. Keziah says, so true. Nature is where Abba speaks to me the most, sis. Yes, we have sunrise and sunset dates. Girl, like literally, that is so beautiful. Such a good point though. But yeah, like community is so important. That's why for me, and Brittany says community is so important. Like, sis, absolutely. That's something that I want you guys to really be encouraged, because I feel like sometimes we're in a race and we feel like we have to build this community super fast. And it's like, there's longevity when we actually trust the Lord in fellowship, right? When we trust the Lord, yes, people need people, absolutely. And I don't want you guys to think like, oh, no new friends, like all that stuff. Like I've met a ton of people via the internet, right? I've met a ton of people, even just, clients that have become friends, or people that I've hired that have become friends. Like it is just such an incredible opportunity to really give people a chance, right? But at the end of the day, operating from a place of discernment and saying and understanding what positions people occupy in your life is very important for you to know yourself, because you don't want to give someone the wrong person the keys to your heart. You see what I'm saying? And access to your heart. Amarilla says, community has been so hard for me because I never felt like I belonged anywhere. After this year of being in the Flourish Collective, a lot of that has been undone. And I see so much value in my life because of community. Oh my God. And not just community, God sent community. Amaryllis. So Amaryllis is one of the mentees in the Flourish Collective, and she is a prayer warrior. She was actually in one of the episodes in the Flourish Effect in Your Corner. And I didn't even know you were going to say all that. Actually, let me screenshot this, because sometimes I be needing the encouragement. But I love that. I have you guys who are on here that are from the community. If you text soul care to the number that I mentioned before, I can give you a little bit more information on that. I promise I'll be texting y'all more often. I in real life don't be texting a lot. And I just didn't want to overwhelm the text messages. You know what I mean? Because if y'all want more, I can give you guys more for sure. But anyway, thank you so much, Amaryllis, for that. That was really good. But I agree with you, in friendship and in community, like when you really invest yourself in the God community, and a lot of you may ask, like, how do I do that? Well, I feel like prayer really does help with giving you insight and discernment into all these things. One of the things that I have shared with my community, and I've shared this openly, and I think that I feel like led to share this, is that, for me, for such a long time as an empath, like I always want to see the best part of a person. I want to give people a chance. Like I want to see the best in you. I want to see you flourish, but that can also be a blind spot, right? Because we're so fixated on seeing the best of a person that we don't realize that we're all human. We're all human, right? And so we all have certain things that if we're so fixated on the best part of a person, we don't give ourselves a chance to say, whoa, like maybe I can't, the access to that type of conversation or to that part of my life, there needs to be certain boundaries there. And that is healthy, right? Having those boundaries are healthy. And so, I have definitely, I agree with her. Like I also have shared in those struggles, but God has redeemed that area of my life time and time and time again. And so the history of God shows me that even if us as people, like, because I'll include myself in it, fail each other, he will never fail us. right? He will never fail us. And so, another thing that I want to mention is journaling. Journaling, I wish I had my journal around me, but journaling is vital for me. I love to timestamp my journals. I love to put the date on it, obviously. And my journals are very serious for me because they walk with me on a daily, right? Some people that are not used to journaling, one thing that I suggest is maybe like start a voice note diary, or I don't like the word diary, but start a voice note journal. Create voice notes for yourself so you can go back and listen to certain prayers that you're praying over yourself, certain desires, certain struggles, and how God delivers you time and time again from those things, right? Put a date on it. Like literally start that. Who says it has to be written, right? Who says it has to look a certain way? I timestamp my journal as well, no matter how many times I write during the day. Yes. Yes. So I used to do that, but now I really just, if I still feel like I need to write at the end of the day, I do that as well. So that's a good point. I love to timestamp these things because I never know, like, I feel like one day, I don't know, 10 years, 5 years, a year from now, I'm able to then kind of go back and just see where I was on that particular day at that particular time and be like, man, God, like you really showed out. Like you are a God that never fails. You are a God that never fails. And, so for me, one of the added bonuses that I wanted to make sure that I incorporated with the workbook was soul scribing sessions. And so if you got the workbook for the challenge, I didn't want to leave you hanging with like not really being exposed to a different type of journaling. And so soul scribing sessions is literally an on-demand journaling masterclass that comes along with the workbook. And so I wanted you guys to really have exposure to journaling in a way that it's not anything rigid. It's not anything that is mechanical or anything like that, but really it's just you having a conversation with the Lord, expressing your desires, understanding his character, bringing in the word of God, and really understanding that for what it is and knowing that it is a fact. It never changes. It remains the same. And so those are things, I think that was like 7 things that I shared that if you guys want to incorporate into your soul care maintenance plan in your lifestyle. So I'm going to end with what the challenge is for today. It is the final day of the soul care challenge. And I hope that you guys have really enjoyed it. I cannot wait to get the DMs. Okay. And the messages. So thank you so much. God's treasure. Put your name in the things. I want to make sure I shout out your name because this is really good. She literally created a comment and, I'm about to read everything that she said because she pretty much recapped everything from the live. So she says, yes, okay. Oh wow, I love that. Uto, is that how you say it? So your name means God's treasure. I love that. Yeah, screenshot that and send it to me. So number 1, scheduling. Are you making time for your soul care for yourself? Creating a worship playlist. Number 2, creating a worship playlist, setting the atmosphere. Number 3, prayer and fasting, reading your word, praying the word of God. Number 4, rest as an act of resting in the Lord, like actually resting and taking those little naps, right? Sleeping and stuff like that, rejuvenating your body, but also resting in the Lord. Number 5, exercising, nothing too extreme, a prayer walk, acknowledging God's nature, dancing, have a concert. I love that you added that. 6, community. There is longevity when we trust the Lord in fellowship. Invest yourself into God community. Prayer helps with discernment. This is such a good recap. Number 7, journaling. Timestamp your journals, put a date on it, create a voice note journal. Yeah, like literally a voice note journal or something like that is, I want you guys to like stop thinking that your time with the Lord has to look a certain way. That's why I stopped doing like certain routine videos, and I can still do those things because it's what I do, but I don't want you guys to box yourself in and your experience with the Lord into what it looks like with me. No. that could be a whole nother live, right? That could be a whole nother live. Thank you so much for sharing that. That is so good. That was such a good recap. So all right, here we go. So obviously now that I've shared some of the elements of a soul care maintenance plan, you guys can build your own soul care maintenance plan that will help you become consistent so that you can actually show up and fill the gap on the earth that is needed. Like, you are needed. Earlier this week, and this really resonated with a lot of you guys, your life is a response that heaven has placed here very uniquely for this generation. So that means that your life is indeed a miracle, right? It's actually a miracle that you're here, that you survived the things that you survived, that you are flourishing even here, that you are even awake watching this live, that you're connected to the Wi-Fi, connected to here. And even though geographically distance separates us, we are together here, right? Yes, that's so good. Close enough. I tried. Send me a voice note on Instagram and I'll make sure that I hear it so I know how to really say your name. Okay, so the challenge for today is it's really a response. So following my soul care plan will allow me to become a better fill in the blank. If somebody wants to drop that on Instagram and on any of the other chats, following my soul care plan will allow me to become a better blank. So you can insert that: a better daughter, a better mother, a better husband, a better wife, a better son, a better friend, a better entrepreneur. Yes, a better leader. Oh, why isn't that letting me? Hold on. A better leader, whatever it is, I want you to fill that blank in. Here we go. I'll drop it on YouTube here. So following my soul care plan, literally you, not MichelleAna's, but yours. Following my soul care plan will allow me to be a better. There you go. Thank you so much, Ciara. Wife and mother. Sasha says wife and mother. Ciara dropped it over here on, I'm going to pin your comment, Ciara, so everybody knows. Crystal, thank you also for dropping the comment as well. Following my soul care plan can make me a better, or will allow me to be a better. So Loidi Maris says, a better child of God and a messenger of his kingdom, a better woman. If you guys want to share any of your responses now, that would be cool too. Following my soul care plan will allow me to become a better. Yes, thank you so much. A better wife and mother, definitely, Michelle says. I love that. Jennifer says a better daughter, friend, leader, sister, auntie, vessel of God. That's so good. That is so good. So y'all, that is day 5 challenge. I hope that you guys enjoyed the last 5 days that we've spent together. If you're watching this on Instagram, I've created a series just for you guys to be able to like watch each and every day. They're all very practical. I started the teachings all with a little bit of information because I think that's so important. Information is very valuable. Collecting information, making informed decisions, and also practicality, and of course just the revelation of who the Lord is, right? And who he is in our lives. We have a better servant, wife, a better mother, a better friend, a better daughter of God. Very good. A better disciple. Slayte says a better daughter, friend, and a follower of Jesus. It's been amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you for showing up. Jess says a better version of myself. A better version of myself. I love that. So Instagram, make sure that you guys know that you guys can watch all of the playlists right here on, or all of the days right here on the series. And for those of you who are watching on YouTube, there's also a playlist just for you. And so if you signed up for the actual challenge, which the link is still in the description box or in the live chat, you can still get within these next few hours, you can still get an email from myself, just like a quick recap and all the links directly into your inbox, and a link to the workbook and soul scribing sessions if you guys are interested in that. Amy says, following my soul care plan will allow me to become stronger in the things I come across. Amen. Such a good one. I'm going to go hang with the webinar crew. We're just going to do some recap. And I hope that you guys have an amazing, amazing weekend wherever you are, or amazing day if you're watching this outside of our real time. And please know that you guys can always go back to the very beginning and do this whenever it is that you feel like you just need a boost in your soul care. And so I hope you guys have a good one.